My boyfriend and I have been arguing because he won't pay for YouTube Premium. But it's okay because I've just downloaded.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Join Target Circle 360 and get a free bouquet of flowers right on time for Mother's Day. Make her day extra special. Join today and get Mom's gift with same-day delivery plus a bouquet of fresh flowers on us, only at Target. Restrictions apply.
That client review was brutal.
We're gonna be underwater for weeks.
I'm already so pruny.
This is fixable. Just use Grammarly. Grammarly can look through the proposal to find what's missing. And look, Grammarly knows the audience is non-technical, so it can take out the jargon and make the benefits easier to understand.
Cool. And with Grammarly working across 500,000 apps and websites, we'll never be underwater again!
Download Grammarly for free.
Heard you wanna get like this. Heard you wanna get like this, like this.
Make everyday couture with Viva La Juicy, the fragrance from Juicy Couture.
We have a dangerous threat.
Tickets available now.
He escaped.
He's not from our world, but he's making himself right at home.
Look, I got a dog.
You sure that's a dog?
Yeah.
Rough.
Agent Cobra Bubbles, we have a blue dog to catch.
Lilo and Stitch.
I'm gonna give you to 3 Stitch. Why?
On February 13th, 2017, a middle-aged man hastily made his way through Kuala Lumpur Airport to make it on time for his flight. Suddenly, a woman approaches him from behind, covering his eyes as though she were a romantic love interest, asking him to guess who. However, it quickly becomes clear that there is nothing cute or fun about this embrace when he begins to react, struggling to wrench himself free. The man then seems to escape her grasp as the woman slips away into the crowd. She can then be seen here walking away calm and confident in a sweater emblazoned with the letters LOL before staring right into the camera as if to say, "Yeah, I just did that." But what did she do? Well, according to the victim himself, who immediately went to report this incident to security, the woman had slathered his face in a strange, oily substance. But she wasn't the only one. It may be hard to see from the security footage, but there was actually a second woman, pointed out here by the yellow arrow, who also put her oily hands on his face, but from the front at the same time as the first woman before running away in the opposite direction. From first glance, it appeared to have been some sort of weird but ultimately harmless prank. But the man knew better. His face was already burning. A security officer and an airport employee, more confused than concerned, escorted him to a medical clinic. However, shortly after entering the clinic, the man's legs, which had been gradually losing strength, finally gave out. He collapses and suffers a seizure. Medical staff rush to his side. They load him onto a stretcher and rush him to an ambulance. They speed off to the nearest hospital to get him the help, but it was too late. The man died in the ambulance just 20 minutes after he had been attacked. But who were the two women who had attacked him, and what had killed him so quickly? Well, after examining the dead man's body, doctors found that his face was covered in a rare substance known as VX, a powerful nerve agent. It is odorless, colorless, and similar to motor oil in consistency. When absorbed into the body through the eyes, mouth, or even the thin skin of the face, VX functions as an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. Normally, as you try to move your body, your motor neurons release the enzyme acetylcholine, which tells our muscles to move or contract. However, VX prevents acetylcholinesterase from acting, which results in the receptors of this enzyme to become fatigued. This eventually leads to violent contractions between the muscle groups. As this blockade continues, the muscles begin to suffer from total paralysis. It is this paralysis that causes the diaphragm to clam up, ultimately leading to death by asphyxiation. Previously to being smeared on the face of the man at the airport, VX was reported to have been wielded by Cubans during the Angolan Civil War, Saddam Hussein during the Halabja chemical attack, and doomsday cult member Masami Sukiya to kill 12 people in a subway attack. As part of the Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993, every country in the world, except 3, signed an agreement to halt production and destroy any stockpiles of VX and all other chemical weapons. So, as you can imagine, the fact that 2 women had used VX to kill a man in a crowded public space was very strange. But there is also another form of the chemical weapon called VX2 that can be made by mixing together QL, known as isopropyl aminoethyl methylphosphonate, together with sulfur or a liquid dimethyl polysulfide mixture, which on their own are harmless. This is crucial to our case because each woman could have carried one component of the VX2, which would explain why 2 of them were needed to complete this brazen attack. After the first woman smeared on one of the components, the other woman would synthesize the nerve agent directly on the man's face by adding the other component. This would be certain death for the man, but would allow neither of the women to suffer any of the serious effects. Now, it is entirely possible that the second woman to apply their part of the mixture would get some synthesized VX2 on their hands, however, only enough to make them ill if not washed off immediately, which is exactly what the 2 women did, immediately rushing to separate washrooms before fleeing the scene. Meanwhile, emergency personnel went back through the belongings of the unidentified man who had suddenly died. Guards find that his backpack is filled with $100,000 in cash, 12 strange vials of liquid, as well as 4 North Korean passports all bearing the name Kim Chol. The ridiculous amount of money was one thing, but the 4 identical passports were another. They scratched their heads, slightly clueless. Nevertheless, the Malaysian authorities now had what they assumed was his real name, the murder weapon, and now they had to find his killers. This, funny enough, would be the easiest part of the investigation. The first woman was identified through CCTV footage as Duan Thi Hung from Vietnam, and found with comical ease, helped largely by the distinct LOL sweatshirt that she wore again when she returned to the scene of the crime 2 days after the killing. The second woman was slightly harder to track down, but not by much.
Did gaming take over your life? You're not alone, and it might not be your fault. The makers of games like Fortnite, Roblox, and Call of Duty are being sued for designing experiences that keep players hooked for hours a day, sometimes leading to real-life consequences.
CCTV footage also helped authorities positively identify her as Siti Aisyah of Indonesia, and a day later, she was arrested at a hotel nearby. Siti and Dwan, who at this point investigators assumed must be trained assassins due to their coordinated use of VX, were now in custody and would soon be facing the only punishment given to murderers in Malaysia, the death penalty. It seemed that the case was clear-cut and closed, especially with the damning CCTV evidence. However, under separate interrogation, both women claimed to have no idea what was going on. While they admitted to spreading an oily substance on the man's face, Siti and Dwan each insisted that they had no clue who he was or that he had even died. In fact, according to them, the whole thing was just a harmless prank, a stunt for a video to be uploaded onto YouTube. The investigators couldn't believe what they were hearing, and how could they? These two women had killed a man in broad daylight with an internationally banned chemical weapon, and now they were saying it was just a prank? It was insane, but as it turned out, the women had an equally insane story to go along with it. Siti Aisyah was born and raised in Rangkasumar, Serang, Indonesia. It was a relatively peaceful life. Her parents were farmers and the community was close and tight-knit. Siti was a bright child, but she had to stop studying as soon as she finished 6th grade. She had no choice. There were no secondary schools in the area. Instead, she began to help her father sell wares at the local market. The days were long and hard. As she looked out into the distance with her father's bag on her back, she imagined living in a bustling urban jungle. The nearby capital city of Jakarta called out to her, where she dreamed that she could one day live a glamorous life. And at the age of 14, Siti left home to pursue her dream. She found employment at a sweatshop in Jakarta, earning a mere $50 a month sewing clothes and sweeping the floors of the factory. Here, she soon began to develop a relationship with a man named Gunawan, the business owner's son. The frequent interactions around the factory eventually bore fruit. The pair fell in love, and just 2 years later, at the age of 16, she married Gunawan and welcomed their own son, Rio, into the world. As the sweatshop came upon hard times, they decided to move to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia for better financial prospects. It wasn't Jakarta, but Siti had found a life better than being trapped in a sweatshop all day. After all, she found a loving husband and birthed an adorable little boy. She found work overseeing a small store, while her husband worked as a waiter at a restaurant. But then, the couple began to fight, and eventually came to the mutual decision to divorce, citing in a handwritten letter that they had irreconcilable differences. There was no longer harmony between them. The two went their separate ways. Gunawan returned to their native Indonesia with their son Rio, while Siti remained in Kuala Lumpur, finding work as a masseuse, or at least that's how her line of work was referred to on paper. Just like that, she had lost her husband, her son, and any hope of making her dreams a reality. But then, one early morning, Siti was approached by John, a cab driver she was on friendly terms with. He told her about a man who had approached him about finding some women to act in prank videos. It wouldn't be hard, he explained. All it would entail was doing embarrassing things to random strangers in public. But what really captured Siti's imagination was how much she'd be paid, as much as $100 per video. At the time, she only earned $15 each day, and even with all her extra freelancing on the side, she needed more money if she wanted to live in comfort and stability while also sending enough home to her mother and son. Though she was hundreds of miles away, she still cared deeply for her family. She wanted to build a home in her native village, where she and her mother could live. Siti agreed to meet John's contact. He brought her to the fashionable Pavilion Mall, where luxury brands like Dior and Hermes were sold. Here, she met a man named James, who introduced himself as a Japanese national. Perhaps cautious and wary of the circumstances of her meeting, Siti introduced herself as Nidya, an alias she often used with clients to keep herself safe. Unfortunately, there was a rather big language barrier. James, it appeared, could not speak Bahasa Indonesia. They struggled to communicate, but with the help of choppy English and Google Translate, James eventually managed to communicate that he was creating a hidden camera prank show on YouTube. Siti was then directed to smear some baby oil on an unsuspecting Vietnamese woman while James recorded the whole thing. For her involvement, Siti was paid $100 up front. Siti performed multiple similar stunts at other malls, as well as hotels over the next month, with compensation ranging from $100 to $200 per prank. One day, James invited Siti to perform a prank video at the Kuala Lumpur airport. Siti was happy to accept. She had earned more money in this short amount of time than she had ever seen in her entire life. Besides, she always wanted to be an actress, and it seemed like this might be the break that she needed to finally make her dreams come true. Similar to City, before being arrested for assassinating a man in an airport, Duan Thi Huang had a simple life, growing up in a small one-story brick house just outside a rice paddy in the rural village of Nha Binh, Vietnam. Her father was a war veteran who used that past experience in his work as a security guard, but her mother died when she was young, and her father eventually remarried. Later on, Duan's father remarked that his daughter was rather distant, and that she had been much closer to her late mother. Perhaps it was this emotional distance that prompted Duan to leave her home at just 18 years old. Duan traveled to Hanoi, the bustling capital of Vietnam. Here, she began attending a pharmaceutical college. To earn some money on the side to help pay her way through college, she began working in certain entertainment districts, though she never went into the details when describing her work to her father. She worked at popular nightclubs and bars, which attracted people from all over the city and, indeed, sometimes the world. She was popular with customers, and her former boss boasted that she was an exemplary employee. The long nights of entertaining clients amidst blinding strobe lights and alcohol-fueled events was what her life became. But Duan longed for the spotlight. She wanted to be famous, to match the new life she was building for herself in Hanoi. First, the opportunity presented itself in the form of Vietnam Idol. She snagged a spot in an audition and sang her heart out for a panel of judges. Although her audition was not a success and her appearance on the talent show lasted for a whole 20 seconds, apparently her low neckline and good looks were deemed noteworthy enough by the public to make her famous on Vietnamese social media for a short period of time. Still, to her, this was a bold step toward her dreams, and Duan was eager to keep trying to make it big. Eventually, the owner of a bar she worked at introduced Duan to a Korean man known only as Mr. Y. He invited Duan to work as an actress for a series of funny videos, which, to Duan, seemed almost too good to be true. Here was another chance to make it big. It wouldn't exactly earn her a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but it was definitely a start. The aspiring actress within her was enthralled. Duan agreed to meet Mr. Y, where she boldly asked for a salary of $1,000 a month. She then participated in a series of prank videos for Mr. Y, the first of which had her kiss a stranger outside the Hanoi Opera House. In another instance, Duan was instructed to touch the eyes of a man from behind. In yet another, she was told to smear cream on another person's face. These were rather strange requests, but fairly harmless. Duan likely thought that this was nothing more than the eccentricities necessary to make it more viral. More importantly, she was bringing in more money than she'd ever known. Then, one afternoon, Mr. Y told Duan that she would be taking the act international and star in a prank video with another woman, a collaboration of sorts, at an airport in Kuala Lumpur.
Give me a mug of your finest. You got it.
Thinking nothing of it, Duan went to pack her bags. On February 13th, Duan and City stalked their unsuspecting victim in the busy entrance of Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Their target was a pudgy, middle-aged man. It would be an embarrassing few moments for him, but it mattered little, especially with how much money was on the line. The two girls didn't know each other, but it appeared to them that their bosses did. Their prank was the same as the dozens of pranks they've done before: apply a liquid on a man's face and disappear as he stands there like an idiot. The cameras and video editors would do the rest of the work. Duan and City thought nothing much more of it. Their target was on the move, and when they saw their chance, they sprung into action, executing their prank in a matter of seconds. City slid out from behind the pillar and wiped liquid on his face. Duan was next, applying a similar liquid over his eyes and mouth. Mission complete. The two women sprint in opposite directions, leaving their victim confounded and confused. As they run to separate bathrooms to wash their oily hands, the liquid on the hysteric man's face begins to do something no baby oil or lotion is capable of. It begins to kill him. Unbeknownst to them, all of their previous pranks had been played on actors, and their bosses, Mr. Y and James, had never intended on making them YouTube stars. They were spies, covertly sculpting these women into unconsenting assassins. And now, months of preparation had culminated in a murder of a man in Malaysia, where such a crime carries with it only one possible sentence: the death penalty. If these two women couldn't prove in court that they were telling the truth, they would face the gallows. Meanwhile, their crime was making headlines, and not just in Malaysia, but around the world. You see, it wasn't just that they had killed a man, it was who they killed. Malaysian authorities had positively identified the man who died in the airport, and his name wasn't Kim Chol, like what was printed on his 5 passports. He was Kim Jong-nam, the brother of North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. City and Duan had now found themselves embroiled within what was possibly the biggest political incident of the 2010s. They were going to need a great legal team, like my friends over at Morgan & Morgan, this video's sponsor. If you're ever seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions. A Morgan & Morgan case in Florida ended in a settlement of $12 million, which is 34 times the highest insurance offer. And in Philadelphia, another case went home with 40 times the highest insurance offer at $26 million. And that was only within the last couple of months for victims involved in life-altering car crashes. They don't settle for lowball offers. Instead, if you become their client, they will fight to get you what you deserve. And you don't even have to pay them unless you win. So if you ever get seriously injured, your case could be worth millions. And you're only a few clicks away from potentially changing your life. It's so easy. You can start your claim now with Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/brew, found in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen from your phone's camera. And thank you, Morgan & Morgan, for sponsoring today's video. Meanwhile, City and Dwan had just learned that the true identity of the man they had unknowingly killed was the son of North Korea's former supreme leader. But why Kim Jong-nam? Who wanted him dead? Well, it all has to do with who his mother was. Kim Jong-nam was born on May 10, 1971, in the North Korean capital of Pyongyang. His mother, Song Hee-rim, was one of the 4 mistresses of the then dictator Kim Jong-il. His father wanted to keep him hidden away, as his grandfather, Kim Il-sung, disapproved of his mother. Thus, it was decided that Jong-nam would be sent to live with his mother's sister, Song Hee-rang, who would homeschool him far away from the prying eyes of the public. Thus, he grew up isolated from the outside world, only allowed to travel if his father permitted it. It felt like they were trapped, Hee-rang recalled. Once, when Jong-nam was 4, he fell terribly ill, which required him to be admitted to the hospital. However, it just so happened that Jong-il's stepmother and half-brother were touring the very hospital Jong-nam was staying at. When Hee-rang's mother realized this, she picked up the young and sick Jong-nam, bundled him up, and crawled out the window to remain unseen. Meanwhile, Jong-il's family passed by, none the wiser. These secretive living conditions were all Jong-nam knew growing up. Eventually, his father recognized that Jong-nam was suffering something quite close to cabin fever, as the only places he was ever allowed to be were their safe houses in Pyongyang and Cheongseong-dong, so he began to relax the restrictions somewhat and allowed Jong-nam to visit their other homes in Geneva and Moscow. Jong-nam was thus able to see the world beyond the clouded lens of his father's regime. Jong-nam inherited the same interests as his father, such as movies and filmmaking. It appeared that Jong-il approved of this, as he had a miniature film studio built for his son to use. There was some form of loving father and son bond. As Jong-nam grew up, his father began to look upon him more favorably. Jong-il appointed his son to the Ministry of Public Security, and later on as the head of the North Korean Computer Committee. These increased responsibilities made it appear as though Jong-il was grooming him to be his next successor, and many of the late dictator's inner circle thought so too. But then, a trip to Disneyland changed everything. In May 2001, Jong-nam arrived at the Narita International Airport in Japan with 2 women and a young boy who was reportedly his son. They were there on vacation. Jong-nam loved Japan, evidenced by the several secret trips he had taken there in just the past year. In this instance, he was on a trip to Tokyo Disneyland, as future dictators tend to do. However, he was there on a false passport, traveling under the alias Pang Sheng, using a fake Dominican Republic passport. He was promptly arrested by security, and the entire incident became a major embarrassment for Kim Jong-il. He was furious. Not only was his son arrested for fake credentials, he was arrested on his way to the House of Mouse. Jong-nam's reputation plummeted, but not solely because of this incident. He had long been a rather reserved critic of his father's regime, occasionally speaking out and decrying his autocratic tendencies. Because of his earlier trips and education in Switzerland, Jong-nam's eyes were opened. The Tokyo incident likely only accelerated Jong-nam's fall from grace. The most damning evidence of his estrangement was during Kim Jong-il's funeral in 2011. Jong-nam was notably absent during the proceedings. As the eldest son, he was widely expected to make an appearance, regardless of how distant he had grown from the regime. It thus came as no surprise when Jong-nam's half-brother, Kim Jong-un, ascended to power instead. Almost immediately upon replacing his deceased father, Kim Jong-un ordered his half-brother assassinated. He and the other higher echelons of the North Korean regime saw his existence as one that should be removed sooner or later, the same way Jong-un eliminated other dissidents. Jong-nam was apparently aware of the target on his back, and made every effort to try and dissuade his brother from having him assassinated. In one letter, Jong-nam wrote, "Please withdraw the order to punish me and my family. We have nowhere to hide."
For over 25 years, John Sun brought you delicious Chinese food straight from his heart at the House of China. Now, a new chapter begins. Meet Sam Liu.
But But Jong-un would not be dissuaded, and Jongnam's fears would eventually be realized on that fateful day at the Kuala Lumpur airport. Planning the assassination itself was clearly made from the top. Jongnam was aware that he was being targeted, so he would have been much more wary of strangers, especially North Koreans. Kim Dong-shik, a defector and former North Korean spy, pointed out that the choice of two women from different countries was deliberate. Jongnam would be far more disarmed if he were approached by non-Koreans, and even more so if they appeared to be harmless. But what was Jongnam doing in Kuala Lumpur? He was coming back from a visit to Langkawi, a popular duty-free tourist destination. His next flight was to Macau, where he was known to have lived. Another reason for intrigue is the amount of money he had in his bag at the time of his murder. Earlier, Malaysian authorities discovered his 4 fake passports and about $100,000 in cash. What was he doing with that much to begin with? One can look at his possible ties to the USA's CIA. Though many of the details are obscure and unclear, there was indeed a link between them and Jongnam. He was most likely an informant, though the exact level of involvement is uncertain. His trip to Malaysia was possibly to meet with one of his handlers. The money was thus possibly payment for the information that he provided them. But perhaps the most puzzling discovery from Jongnam's bag wasn't his 4 passports or the life-changing amount of money he was carrying. It was an antidote for the VX Nerve agent. It's another piece of evidence that he knew he was being targeted, but why hadn't he used it? One first has to remember that Jongnam died in a matter of minutes, as the deadly poison was applied through his cheek. Tests have shown that this is the most lethal place for it to be. One would need 25 times more of the same amount for it to work on the hands, for instance. Jongnam carried 12 doses of atropine, typically used to slow patient heart rates, treat pesticide poisoning, and, in this instance, as a counter to the effects of nerve agents. When taken in its pill or liquid form, as Jongnam possessed, it would take up to 20 minutes for it to take effect. But by then, the VX nerve agent would already have done its damage. It is meant to buy time for the victim by staving off the effects of the nerve agent, and immediate medical attention is still required. Kim Jongnam's life was a whirlwind, and his death sent shockwaves throughout the world, and there would be blood to pay. Malaysia was an outlier. At that time in 2017, it was one of 30 countries that maintained an embassy in Pyongyang. Their relationship was so close, in fact, that North Korea allowed Malaysians to enter their country without a visa. They were the only country to enjoy this distinction. The two thus enjoyed strong trade relations, and many North Koreans traveled to Malaysia to study and work. The economic advantages that North Korea reaped were so great that they even began operating an illegal firearms ring right in the country itself. Thus, the fallout was immense. Not only was the murder conducted on Malaysian soil, but North Korea claimed that Kim Jong-nam had actually died of a heart attack, rejecting the notion that they were involved in any way. What followed was a back-and-forth tit-for-tat between the two countries. On March 6th, Malaysia canceled all visa-free entries for all North Koreans. They also forced Kang Chol, the North Korean ambassador to Malaysia, to leave the country. North Korea then enacted a similar policy for the Malaysian ambassadors residing within their country, and took it a step further by banning Malaysians from leaving their country, and then Malaysia banned the North Koreans residing in theirs from doing the same. The biggest consequence of this whole incident, however, had yet to come. Siti and Duan were about to face justice, whatever form that may be. On October 2nd, 2017, 8 months after Jongnam lost his life at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, Siti and Duan faced the trial of their lives. A host of escort guards tightly gripped their slender arms as they escorted them inside the High Court in Shah Alam Selangor. Equipped with bulletproof vests, their heads hung low, avoiding the glare of flashing cameras and inquisitive reporters hoping to get a soundbite for their articles. If they were found guilty, they would receive the death penalty, and this was day one of a long series of court appearances to decide their fate. At the preliminary hearing, both Siti and Duan entered a plea of not guilty, professing their innocence and repeating what they had told the police several times before, that they did not know that they were killing a man. They were just filming a YouTube prank video, nothing more. But the prosecution was there to convince the court that the two women were lying. They pointed out that the attack appeared highly coordinated and well orchestrated, and that each woman immediately went to washrooms to clean their hands. They thus found it extremely improbable that two women were unknowingly handling such a dangerous toxin. In return, the women's defense lawyers presented CCTV footage, which showed 4 North Korean men, Hong Sung-hak, Ri Ji-hyun, Ri Jae-nam, and Oh Jung-gil, who seemed to be directing the women and closely observing Jongnam's movements at the airport before fleeing to North Korea upon his death. In a subsequent hearing in January 2018, Duan's lawyers presented recorded testimony from a woman named Bik Tui, a close friend of Duan's. She testified and corroborated Duan's story of how she was recruited by Mr. Y, later identified as Ri Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun was initially aiming to recruit Tui, but at the time, she had a business and family to care for. She instead recommended Duan, knowing that she was an aspiring actress. The lawyer also pointed out that, in the CCTV footage provided, Duan could be seen touching her hair shortly after she poisoned Jong-nam. This is hardly the behavior of someone who knew that a deadly toxin was on their hands. City's defense attorney built up a similar defense for his client. The footage also showed City walking into a bathroom to wash her hands, a full 13 minutes after she had assaulted Jong-nam. If she were truly aware that there were toxins on her hand, she wouldn't have waited that long to rid herself of the toxic chemical. He likewise attacked prosecutors for using compromised CCTV footage that seemed to intentionally paint City in a worse light. The footage they provided, for example, did not include snippets of City adjusting her glasses with her hands still contaminated with poison. Furthermore, he also pointed out that City was not wearing gloves, despite how toxic the VX nerve agent was. If there were any guilt at all in her mind, he explains, she would have disposed of her clothes and hopped on the first flight back to Indonesia, rather than staying nearby and even returning to the scene of the crime days later, looking for Mr. Y. Duan's lawyer would later go on to say, "In our combined 90 years of legal practice, we have not come across a murder case when an accused commits murder in broad daylight in full view of the CCTV cameras, goes back to the scene of crime 2 days later in similar circumstances. The strength of this piece of subsequent conduct evidence buries the prosecution's case," he concluded. In March 2019, something strange happened.
Power Crunch. Light cookie crunch. Enriched with protein. This is protein worth craving. Power Crunch. Protein worth craving.
You probably know Vistaprint for business cards, because we've printed them for millions of small businesses over the past 25 years. But we also print signs, stickers, shirts, and more. If you need it, we print it. Print it all with 20% off for new customers at Vistaprint.com.
The door to City's cell that she had been confined to for the past 2 years opened. Authorities brought her out of their custody and into freedom. As she exited her detention, she waved to the cameras that she was once shied away from, with a smile across her face. However, it was not because of the judge's decision. The Indonesian government sent a letter to the Malaysian government requesting that City be released. To the outrage of Vietnam, this leniency was not shown toward Duan, who would continue to face trial as regular. When Duan learned that City was free, she was devastated that a similar mercy was not shown to her. Her condition deteriorated to the point that authorities had to postpone the trial to a later date. Duan had not slept in 3 days since she found out that City was released. Duan's lawyers strongly protested what they saw was preferential treatment and discrimination against their client. There was opposition from across the board against the government's refusal to acquit Duan when City was allowed to walk free. Ramkarpal Singh, a member of parliament, called this decision mind-boggling. Duan was tried once more. By this point, the stress of the trial had taken its toll. Perhaps to avoid the trial from becoming even lengthier, she pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. She had escaped the death penalty, and now it was her turn for an exit, albeit slightly less triumphant than City's. Armed guards escorted Duan out of the courthouse. A journalist asked Duan how she was feeling, to which she replied, "I am happy." But thankfully, no more than a month later, Duan was released early and was on a flight back home to Vietnam. Evans Revere, the former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, would later remark that the planners, organizers, and overseers of the assassination of Kim Jong-nam have indeed gotten away with it. No one will be held responsible for this horrific attack in which a weapon of mass destruction was used to kill a human being in an international airport. The 4 North Korean suspects, the likely ringleaders behind this whole operation, were safely back in Pyongyang. City and Duan have returned to their respective home countries with this whole ordeal behind them. They have their whole lives ahead of them, and they still have a chance to fulfill their dreams. But most importantly, they were finally free. If you enjoyed this video, then consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. It's the best thing you can do to help us make more videos, like this one about the search for the 26 kids.
This is the United States of America, where slavery is still legal under the 13th Amendment if you've been convicted of a crime.
You can be legally enslaved. If it looks like slavery, it smells like slavery, it sounds like slavery, it's slavery.
Turns out, when Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery by ratifying the 13th Amendment in 1865, they left in one little exception: convicted criminals.
You locked up? They're gonna slave the to ass.
Like everyone's slave, not just black people, everyone now.
And refusal to work can be met with harsh punishments like solitary confinement, loss of privileges like visitation, phone calls, commissary access, recreation time, family visits, good time credits, and access to books, hygiene products, and snacks. And the prisoners that do make small amounts of money can have up to 80% of their earnings deducted for various prison-related expenses before they see any of it, while 7 states pay them nothing. So who benefits off of their labor? And does America have financial upside in locking more and more Americans in prison to maintain a steady supply of state-owned slaves? More importantly, did slavery ever end in America, or did it just rebrand itself to something more socially acceptable?
Some may not know is almost half of those men and women fighting fires are convicted felons.
And this, clear.
But it's not money these inmates are working for. It's their future freedom.
Before I speak up with ex-prisoners who are locked up in Texas, work in the deadly hot fields for their master, Uncle Sam, I went to one of the most incarcerated cities in America to see if they knew that slavery is still legal in America.
Did you know it's still legal to enslave someone if they commit a crime in the United States of America?
You know what? I think we're all slaves.
Did you know about that exception?
Wow, I didn't know that. Yes, I do know that.
Did not know that.
The way the government is going, yeah, I would believe it, yeah.
Does that come as a surprise?
Yes.
Yeah, it surprised me a bit. Doesn't surprise me at all.
No, I'm not surprised.
That is disturbing.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy, right? No one really thinks about it.
That's weird.
Do you support slavery?
No comment, buddy.
Fair. Have a great day.
You're in 2025, you know, you shouldn't be enslaved. Some bullshit.
Hell no.
Hell no.
No.
No. No. Shouldn't even be a thought in mind, ever.
I'm not saying they should, but it will happen, and if it do, and people don't fight back, that's on them.
Do you think slavery ever ended in America?
No, it's just transformed. It's never changed. It's always been that way.
If you know the process of how indentured servitude went and then how it formed slavery, you'd understand that this is what's going on now. Just not just black people anymore. So like everyone's slave, not just black people, not just people of color. It's everyone now, and everyone's starting to feel it.
I think that law should be ratified. It should be changed for sure.
No, it shouldn't be legal to enslave somebody if they commit a crime.
Is there any crime that would warrant whiplashing in the fields, like plantation style?
No, absolutely not.
No matter the crime?
No matter.
Even like a child rapist?
Well, no one.
Murder?
No one.
This is getting way heavy.
Murder?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, I don't know.
Maybe fuck them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Even if you're a heinous criminal who commits a terrible crime?
No, there is no slaves. Shouldn't be any slaves.
I mean, I think all crimes are different levels. I mean, you're getting dealt with in there by other inmates. Justice happen on its own. Whipping like that, we're going back 100 years or right there.
The crime and the time should matter.
No forced labor?
No.
And the severity of their crime should matter and how much time they get. Like I said, our legal system is jacked up. People are getting more time than they deserve for small things that are like as much as a gram of weed.
Where I draw the line is that if there's corporations making money on it, like not employing actual people and just using the inmates, then I see a problem.
And then they can't keep the job once they get released from prison due to the felony status oftentimes.
Yeah, it's not good.
I feel like the federal prison system is just like recycling black men specifically. Due to like the laws that are being passed, it's hard to make change. The oligarchy that holds the power is making it harder for us to reach the change.
We realize the 13th and 14th Amendment created 2 citizenships within the United States. Freed the slaves, that's 1 citizenship. You're born a United States citizen. You're not under the rule of the United States government that exists today. It is a corporation.
And we're employees to this corporation or what?
You are slavery to that corporation.
Gray, yellow?
They have an income tax. You're a slave under that.
Let's make sure that we're not putting ourselves in position to become slaves. But when you have predators out there, it's not a choice. The gazelle doesn't choose to get eeaten by the lion.
You locked up? They're gonna slay the shit out of you.
Do you know anyone who's gotten a felony?
One of my best friends, but he trying to shake back, you know, I'm supporting him for that.
Not immediate family, but I know somebody who has people who got like long sentences for very, very minimal things.
How has that affected their life?
Forever.
Forever?
Forever. You go to jail, that's a wrap.
After talking to the people of New Orleans, I headed over to Gatesville, Texas, home to 5 out of the 9 women's prisons and jails in Texas, to meet up with Marcy Simmons, who spent 10 years working the fields out here after stealing $300,000 from her employer. As I was getting B-roll of one of these women's prisons before the interview, a perfect example of the overcriminalization of Americans unfolded before my very eyes.
No, sir, this is private property. You're on state property right now.
This is
No, sir, you
state
are
property?
on private property of the state of Texas.
Man, they try to get a rise out of you.
No,
we just need to get.
we're genuine confusion.
As I filmed the outside of a prison funded by the tax dollars of Americans in a public parking lot, filming that which was in plain view, I quickly learned as to how little we really know about what goes on inside the prison walls.
So we're trying to get some B-roll on the outside of the prison. Are we within our legal First Amendment rights to film on the outside of the prison?
State property is part of public property.
No. The public property is over there behind that stop sign.
State property is still a part of public property as long as it's publicly accessible land.
Yes, man. Can you 25 me at Valley? I have 2 guys that are refusing to leave.
That's not what's happening.
Well, we're not refusing to. We're trying to get some clarity on the actual line itself.
We're not going to argue.
This is constitutionally protected ability to film on the exterior of the prison,
Y'all
right?
have the right to, to record and all that.
Yeah.
But not on state property, on the other side of that stop sign.
That's unconstitutional.
State property is
Okay,
still public land.
what
Yeah.
business do y'all have on this state property right now?
First Amendment, expression, journalism.
Do y'all have an appointment?
No, we don't have an appointment, but we're not trying to come on the inside of the premises. We're on the outside, no?
'Cause y'all too close to the gate. I got inmates here. We don't know who y'all are.
We're not trying to get a rise out of anyone. We prefer if you're out of the shop.
No. We're not gonna be doing that, man. Hey.
Well, once again, we're...
Show them the privacy, man. Show them respect, man.
What?
You don't know
What are you
what
talking-
they've been through.
That's not-
What's going on?
That's not the point.
That's my whole thing.
You're misunderstanding the whole point. We're trying to get some B-roll on the outside of the prison. Officer Cruz here, I guess, is setting the example for the lack of transparency and the ability for any journalists to gain access and understand what's even happening inside here. Yes.
You cannot be on the premises filming. You don't have authorization. So I'm going to...
It's public property, no?
Sir, I'm going to have to ask y'all to leave. You can't be here filming, okay?
So what we're trying to understand is if you're just making this up or if we're actually in violation of some Texas Penal Code.
I'm not going to answer your rules.
My rules?
Your questions, your questions. I'm just telling you y'all need to leave, okay? Sir, please put your phone down.
I would suggest you don't touch my property.
I'm not touching you, man. You don't have authorization to be recorded.
They're sitting on the floor.
We're going to have seats in the prison truck or they're being shipped like cattle. So, how y'all doing? Hey, we're trying to get some B-roll of the facility here. From our understanding, this is state property and it's constitutionally protected.
You are in violation. And if they ask you to leave, you need to leave. I need your license and your driver's license.
Okay, yes, sir.
As far as secure area, it would be a question of publicly accessible.
One more time, I need your driver's license and I need it now, please. This is a penitentiary that houses very violent criminals. We have killers, rapists, murderers. We have everything in here. And they have family members in the world that will come out here and play the same card. And when we have people here, we don't know who you are.
I see. Okay.
So why would you come here to mess with these people?
We're not here to mess with anyone, though. That's
Exactly what's happening. Disrupting their operations.
So we are in violation of Texas Penal Code? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm asking you to do is leave.
So are we violating Texas Penal
What I
Code?
want you to do is get in your car and leave.
All I'm asking is, are we in violation of Texas Penal
One
Code?
more time for you to get in your car and leave.
I'm confused.
We saw the prisoners, a bunch of convicted felons in a van being shipped in and out of the prison. You just
The penitentiary that houses very violent criminals. We have killers, rapists, murderers. We have everything in here. And they have family members in the world that will come out here and play the same card. And when we have people here, we don't know who you are.
I see. Okay.
So why would you come here to mess with these people?
We're not here to mess with anyone, though. That's
But
the
that's
confusion.
exactly what's happening. Disrupting their operation.
I'm live. Oh, okay. All right, guys. I didn't know that. That's cool. I had no idea that I was live on TikTok. Cool. All right. Well, I guess I don't know how to look at that. I'll look at it later, but it should be fixed now for you guys on TikTok. Hi, yay! My first TikTok stream, I guess. I'll set it up next time so I can read your guys' chats and stuff, because right now I can't see TikTok chat, but I will set that up, so don't you worry. You will be included next time. Anyway, what else can we chat about? Is there anything else we can spend another 5 minutes or so or something chatting about? When are you going to do Manhunt with six hunters? I mentioned it earlier, but I think realistically it'll probably be around 3 months or so, at minimum, at least, because I want to train, guys. Like, I need to train. I need to practice. I need to completely unrust, because right now I'm still rusty. I think more so with like parkour and stuff I'm rusty. I picked up I'm still rusty with aim and other things as well, but I want to change my hotkeys and practice with my new hotkeys. I've done that already. I got a new mouse. And then I've just been practicing and everything, you know, every different kind of thing, whether it be parkour, MLG, and then I want to do speedrunning as well. I want to learn a lot of the new metas and you know, all of that. So that will come. So I just need time. I need time, and like for this duel, I only had a week to train, you know. So and I went in from like doing nothing in Minecraft really to training for this duel. You know, it'll take time, but we'll get there, and then you guys will see the progress. Well, I think you guys will like all the videos leading up to it, because like I want to do some manhunts, some cool manhunt challenges leading up to it. When is Dad versus Dad? I don't know. Technodad will probably say, so we will see. You need to grind hard soon. That's what I've been doing. I've been grinding. How good is your dad at the game? He's never played Minecraft. Or any other PC game as far as I know. Dream, are you 100% sure that you'll win the skills duel against the Cuevas? I'm 95%. Okay, I'm 95% sure. I'll tell you guys a secret. Okay, we already recorded half of it, which seems kind of odd, but it's because some of it was not ready, like map wise. And I wanted to be able to have like editing time, so we did record half of it. I won't spoil what happened in that half, but we did record half of it. So five of the 10. But the other 5 I think we're doing on Friday. So I will know on Friday. But that's that. Let me read some of these donos. Are you going to VidCon? Yes, guys. I'll be announcing it. I'll put it on my posts like on YouTube and some other stuff. But I will be going to VidCon. So if those of you that live in California or want to travel to VidCon, I'll be going to VidCon. I'm doing a panel there. I'll be using the Fusion technology. So like how we put the Titan in. And I'll be showing that off like on stage to you guys. So if you guys want to pop to VidCon, hop in, say hi. I'll be there. And I don't know when when will it be published? I think Saturday it'll be published.
Gotcha! Experience an incredible selection of the latest equipment, clothing, shoes, and accessories. Plus
progressed. And speedrunning as well. Speedrunning and PvP have both progressed so much, and I just have not played Minecraft much, you know, as much, not even close to as much as I used to. But I want to start streaming and also, you know, playing offline, which I have been doing. So, someone says something about dynamic FOV. I don't know. I didn't catch it though. When will the skills video be uploaded? It should be Saturday. What's the song name? The songs that are playing right now are just they're custom made songs, so they don't really have names. We're naming them and we're gonna upload them so you guys can like use them and stuff in the future. But for now, they just they're unnamed. These are all like songs that we made. So wait, tadpoles are like actually in Minecraft? I thought that was like a tadpoles are in Minecraft. I thought that was like a custom like resource pack thing. Tadpoles are actually in the game. I literally thought that was just like a resource pack that they did or something. You gonna fight Marlowe or Sharpness or Flame Frags? Maybe eventually. Maybe eventually. I think it'd be unfair right now because they play Minecraft every day and I don't. But I'll catch up. I'll catch up and we can do. I'm down for it. I'm down for it all. I'm here for the smoke. I fought Marlowe twice in Axe PvP on one of my last streams, and she beat me both times, but it was close. I had her one hit one time. I should have won. I should have just offhanded my crossbow or something, and I would have won. But she beat me the other time. I think she had 1 heart in one and 1.5 hearts in the other or something like that. But Marlowe is a lot better than me right now in terms of just like general mechanical skill. So I have a ways to go. I think that I don't know. I'm very impressed by a lot of the new age PvPers, I guess, in general. I think I said something similar to Swite, where I said there's like anger for me sometimes when I'm fighting people if they're like doing better than me and I'm just not doing as well or whatever. But that anger very quickly turns to admiration for people if the person is genuinely just outclassing me in Minecraft skill somehow because of training or experience or whatever. And so I feel that way. At minimum about Swite because I fought Swite a lot more, and he's just very, very talented, and a lot of his videos I've seen, the way he explains things, and it seems like he has a deep understanding of the game, which I admire. So I don't know enough about the new age PvPers that you put on that list. I've heard about them vaguely, but I just know that I'm always up for any challenges, and it's a challenge for me to learn and to get better. And I think I have the mechanics, so I just have to put in the time. Kind of doing a little Q&A here, guys, to end the stream. This guy's getting cooked right now. How many hours do you think you have on Minecraft? I don't know, too many. Too many. Some hints on the 6th hunter, please. No hints. We'll have to see. Will you speedrun on 1.16.1 or the newest? I have no idea. I don't know. I want to learn the I guess probably whatever version I'd be playing Manhunt on, which is usually the newest. So, but the thing is in Manhunt is we can adjust things. Like as an example, the reason that there's people stick on 1.16.1 or whatever version they stick on, I don't know which one it is because of like the pearl rates and stuff, I think, and there's probably other things like I think brutes and whatever. But like we could without it being cheating, we could modify that for a Manhunt and just have everyone agree to that because it just makes the videos better. So like I wouldn't be as worried about like sticking to a lower version. Like I probably just would play on the latest and modify it to be speedrunning friendly if necessary. But also the speedrun times are so quick now that maybe we don't need to do that, Like they're so like people are speedrunning the game in I mean, the record is so low now. So quick. Just remember to take off notifications. Well, I'm not competitively speedrunning, so, but I'll remember. If you lose skills, what's next? If I lose to DeQuavis and the skills, then we do DeQuavis and Dream Manhunt. But I just do not think that is happening, so don't get your hopes up. I mean, he won it. That's the thing, is he was really pushing for the Manhunt. Like I wanted it to be that whoever won if there was a like I wanted it to be that we do the skills challenge as well, but and then we have some kind of tiebreaker. I don't remember exactly what I was suggesting, but we had a multitude of like tiebreakers. I think it was more like PvP or something. And he was insisting on a Manhunt, and I didn't really want to. I was like, just because it's like, I feel like it's like risky for me. It's not really risky for him. Like DeQuavis it's only up for him in the Manhunt, right? Like if we do a Manhunt, it's only up for him. Like if he loses, okay, he lost to Dream in Manhunt. If he wins, it's like, holy crap, Dream is trash. Dream is the worst. Dream lost to DeQuavis in Manhunt. And in reality, like in Minecraft, anything can happen. It's like in a Manhunt video, you know, like we have a ton of rules I've talked about so many times to make the videos better. Like, you know, certain things about like traveling in the nether and about, you know, if I die in the first, you know, at the very beginning and so on and so forth, to make it so that the video is not just like a lame video. That like, obviously when the money's on the line, you're not going to do those things. Right. And so like, it's so much more risky. Like the video could just start with some stupid, bro, scared you might lose. Yeah, you're damn right I am. It is scary. Like it's $100,000. I'll be under so much pressure. $100,000 on the line. My like reputation on the line, and on top of that, like it's like we'd have less. I don't know, less like it wouldn't be the format that I'm used to. So it is like, yeah, you're damn right. I'm scared. I'm not afraid to say that. But that's why, I mean, I'm gonna beat him in skills, and then I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, he wanted to do Manhunt. He wanted to do Manhunt originally. I think he wanted to just do PvP and then a Manhunt. If we like tied in PvP, like 2 rounds of PvP, like we do like modern and axe or something, or like axe and sword or something like that, and then we did a Manhunt. And I was like, no, let's do a skills challenge. I want to see you do your TikTok tricks. But yeah. What are your thoughts on joining SMPs, and if so, it's fair trick? I mean, I think I want to play more like style Minecraft, but I don't know if I want to join like a SMP or anything. I mean, I think I'm kind of like joining other people's. I mean, I joined for like as a guest or something for fun. My phone's on by my mouse. There we go. Oh, well, I just lost the hit. Oh, I'm out of arrows as well. Wow, that was clutch. How good is your dad of the game? He's never played. He has never played, so sorry. Titan soundtracks win. I don't know. You got a Galaxy on TikTok. I don't know what that is, but guys, hello TikTok. I've never streamed on TikTok before. I don't even know how it works. So like, welcome, and hopefully you guys stay. And next time I'll make my stream better and more interactive with you guys, because I'll know how to like do things. Oh, come on. GG. But I will be making an SMP soon. I don't want to make it like this big announcement or anything, so I'm probably just, once it's ready and done, then I'm going to start it. But I'm going to be doing a Titan SMP. I don't know exactly who's going to be, you know, playing on it or anything, but I'm going to be doing a Titan SMP. It's pretty cool, actually. There's a lot of really cool stuff surrounding it. And I think a lot of you guys will like that, but it's going to happen. I don't know when, probably a couple months, but I'm going to do that. Dream Team community talent show, like Dr. Donut. It's so funny. Titan lore. Yes, exactly. Titan lore. Turn off dynamic FOV, but isn't that like good for like, how can I tell that I'm sprinting? Like, I'm just sprinting. Unless you're saying like, you have like a sprint toggle on the top right or something. Like I think some mods do that, but I don't know. What's your tier in axe? I mean, I think realistically right now, like I'm probably low high tier 3. I know that's not a tier, but like I'm probably bottom of high tier 3 because I win more than I lose against tier 3s by like a good margin. I have the mod that like shows it against low tier 3s, and then I will steal around now and then against, you know, the top people. Like I won a best of 3 twice against a tier 2 guy, but he also beat me I think 3 or 4 series, so he has more wins than I do against him. But I had enough to win now and then, and obviously I stole around against White. I played close Marlowe on here. Obviously I got a little lucky, but I think that's what if I had to guess, that's what I would guess if I'm being honest. But I think a lot of people, there's probably a lot of people that would disagree, but that would be my guess. I'm also inconsistent though, so like I'm rusty, so I make mistakes, and I'm learning new strategies, so I make mistakes. Do a hack versus hack rematch. I think we're gonna do a hack versus hack rematch on Sapnap's channel. I think that's something that we're gonna be doing. I think we'll be doing that on Sapnap's channel soon. Not super soon, but relatively soon. Sorry for griefing the stage on Donut Stream. It's okay, I forgive you. I still have like $200 million or something on there. I also never died. I think he thought I died at the end of the stream. I didn't die. I just left. Like I like got away. I warped away, and then I left. So I still have all my loot. What else is there? I think that's probably where we'll end it very shortly. I think I'll end it in a minute or two. But yeah, lots of really cool stuff coming. Thank you guys for coming. I want to stream more. Like I said, TikTok. Next time I'll be able to see your guys' chats and interact with you guys more. And I'll make it so it's not as scuffed for you guys, because this is my first time ever streaming. I wasn't even sure. It tried to tell me to like log in, and then I just didn't like log in, you know. And so like I just thought I wasn't streaming there, but now I am. So in the future I will make it better. And guys, I'm gonna get you on Twitch. I'm gonna update the membership badges as soon as possible, so you guys have the same membership badges as YouTube. And again, on YouTube, guys, I opened a membership program. If you want to join, you can click the join button on my channel. I think the bottom tier is $2, I think, and you get to vote in polls. Like you guys, they voted on this stream. They got to choose what we did this stream, and they voted on the analysis and a little bit of Axe PvP. So that's what we did. And then if you're the higher tier, you get if you're that tier, you get like membership badges and also emotes. You guys can spam some emotes in the chat. There's lots of custom dream emotes. I'm trying to add more of them as well. So anyway, see you guys soon. Hopefully in the next couple days I'll stream again, but I'm also working on the skills video, so who knows. All right, bye guys. Love you guys. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Is this the future of hand grenades, and what does that have to do with LEGO? This is the Scalable Offensive Hand Grenade by Nammo. But what does that actually mean? Well, classic grenades like the M67 or Mark II are fragmentation grenades. This means the explosion flings a ton of shrapnel in the surrounding area. So even if the explosion doesn't kill the enemy, it's probably going to ruin their day. However, shrapnel doesn't have any friends, so it may hit you too, meaning you have to throw it behind cover, making it a defensive grenade. However, Namo's alternative creates no shrapnel, meaning it can be thrown with minimal cover. But that's not its coolest trick, because unlike the Mark II or the M67 that have a set amount of explosives, Namo's alternative is scalable, allowing you to stack grenade segments on top of each other to increase its power. Only throwing the base segment acts a bit like a flashbang, giving the enemy a concussion. But if you add a second segment, it's powerful enough to neutralize all enemies in a single room. And stacking 3 together is powerful enough to take out structures. God only knows what happens when you stack 4, 5, or even 6 together. Maybe you'd give the Moab a run for its money or create some form of black hole. Is this the future of hand grenades?